Thank you for renting our 2008 Damon Essence 40-foot Class A motorhome. Okay, before we get into the motorhome, some of the most important considerations when driving the RV is to pay attention to your brakes. Brakes can get hot and they'll stop working quite as well, so use your engine brake as much as you feel comfortable with. Your batteries are probably the most important thing. It's easy to forget that you leave them on without turning on the generator or connecting them to shore power, and they're deep cycle batteries, so they have to be charged or charging for a long period of time in order to get them back up to where they need to be. When you leave the RV for a long period, make sure you're turning off the use control button so that it's not pulling from the batteries. Also, the chassis batteries, there's 2 of them, and every time you start a diesel engine, it takes a lot of cold cranking amps, so it wears your batteries down fast. Leave your diesel engine running if you're going to be driving it again in a few minutes to half an hour. When you pull up to gas stations, just leave it running. Turn off your generator, but leave the diesel engine running. Remember that it is a diesel engine and it's 40 feet long, so you're going to want to look for Love's gas stations, Pilot gas stations, any truck stops really will be fine. And make sure that you're putting diesel in it, not unleaded. The RV is 13 feet, 0.6 inches. My rule of thumb is I don't go under anything that is less than 13 feet, 6 inches. Just to be safe, you never know. Make sure that you're taking your corners wider than you normally would. It's 40 feet long, so it's easy to cut a corner short. Just go out a little extra wide. The first thing we're going to talk about today are the keys. Okay, the keys. This first set is for the doors. The black master key is for the door handle, and the silver house key is for the deadbolt above the door. This is the ignition key, separated so that you can keep the Damon running while you're getting gas or leaving the RV for short periods. These are the storage keys. The silver key with the round end is used for the engine compartment and the generator compartment, found at the front and back of the RV. The square black key is used to unlock all of the basement storage cabinets. When you first come into the RV, the first thing you want to do is you always want to push your use button. Use is how all of the house batteries work. So your radio won't work, nothing will start, your generator won't start, nothing will start until you press that use button. And then you can see all of your electrical components. So if you want the step to the light, or the light step, excuse me, if you want your component lights, which will be back in the main salon, your patio lights outside, ceiling lights, which are inside, right there. And then your electric awning controls. The top one is for the main awning and the bottom one is for the door awning. Okay, now that we have the electricity on, we're going to go ahead and start the RV. This is a diesel engine, so you have to turn it to the on switch and you wait for your glow plugs to light up. The glow plug light went away, so now you can start your RV. Okay, now that you're ready to go, foot goes on the brake. Release your parking brake, push it down, put it into drive, put it into D. Okay, and now in order to put it back into park, you're going to lift up on the parking brake and you're going to press neutral. The beeping will go away. Now you can take your foot off the brake. Okay, now we're going to go over the controls. In the back on the driver's side, you can see the LCI electronic leveling. This is for your jacks. Ahead of that, you have your nightshade and your sunshade and your air horn. The nightshade and sunshade right now are not working, and we will have curtains in place for privacy at night. We have the engine brake. We're going to do a separate video on the engine brake. You have your mirror controls. Next to that, you have your gears. You go in reverse, neutral, and drive. On the front, you have the dash fan. The dash fan that one and that one used to keep the windows clean and frost free and humidity free. Next to that, you have your dock lights. Turn on the lights in the side and on the top. You have your aisle lights. This is for the back of the RV. So if they forget to turn them off, you can control them here. You have your service lights. This is for underneath the compartments, so you can do service. You have your headlights. If your 2 chassis batteries are dead, you can use the auxiliary start, which pulls from the 4 house batteries to start the engine and get it running. And then to the right of that one is the generator. So when you start, you're going to press and hold the gen start button. And remember that your use button has to be on. Turn around and show them the use button. Your use button has to be on. Then you can press and hold down the generator start button. You might not be able to hear it, but it's clicking right now. And it's just started. When you first turn on your radio, it will remember where you were the last time. In this case, it's remembering we were on radio. And you can see the rear view camera. So that is showing behind the RV. And then you can mute all sound. And these will be available. So this is a lightning charger, fast charge, and this one is so that you can plug your aux into your radio and listen to your music as you're driving. 12-volt DC charging ports. Your registration card is where I put my wallet and the keys. And just over the entrance door, this is where you're going to find your level test. So if you press this button, it will tell you that your battery condition is good, your LP gas is full, your fresh water tank on this one is about 2/3 of the way full, your black water tank is empty, your gray water is empty. Turn on your LP gas if you want to use it inside the vehicle. There are 3 different switches for LP gas. And then you can turn on your electric or gas water heater from this panel. If you want to move your slides in and out, these are the buttons to do it. Okay, once you get on inside the RV and you want to put the slides out, you want to make sure that your use control is on, ours is on, and that your generator is started. Generator is running. There are no doors. There are no doors open on either side. Make sure that everything is closed and that the awnings are not out. Now you can press the slide out driver front. Now we're going to walk around and look at all the storage down in the basement area. We have 2 fuel tanks. One fuel tank, 2 places to input it. One on the driver's side, one on the passenger side. They're both in the same place. There you go. You got your entertainment center underneath. And it's finished. You do that with the other 3 and you just have somebody watch as you put them out. Okay, this is what the RV looks like with all the slides out. There will be another chair here and you can bring up your footstools in that area. As you're opening up your blinds, the blinds are a little bit old. The creases don't line up like they used to do. It's a 2008. You have 2 choices. You could either do the sunscreen and pull just the sunscreen out. So now you get the light in, but you no longer have that. You can see that the screen itself, it's a little messed up. If you grab it on either end and you pull them, they'll realign the creases and it'll all sit up there nice and neat. There we go. And then you can do the same. You can pull this bottom one up and now you've got full sunlight coming into the RV. Your ladder for the back of the RV is stored in the first compartment along with the hold downs for the 2 chairs that go in the main area. We don't have them locked down so that we can move them, but you can do it. Plenty of throughput storage. If you want to use the slide out, you have to press this black lever to the side, and then you just pull it. It'll actually lock. It'll lock a quarter of the way out. Then you do it again. It'll lock again on the way out. There you go. It goes both ways, so you could pull it out the other way if you want to. You can pull it out this way. In order to put it back, you just flip that switch. Right underneath there, this is how you clean out the whole house vac. You won't probably have to worry about that, but if you are using it and there's a problem, that's your whole house vac. This is how you fill up your potable water. So you can see your water level here. This is where you hook up your water line. This is for the drinking water, I'm sorry, the shower water and the sink water. This is where your batteries are stored. Your house batteries, there are 4 of them. These are 800 amp, I think 800 amp house batteries. They take a long time to charge. So make sure that you're getting deep cycle charges. You're using the generator, you're using shore power in order to keep everything running smoothly. These 2 are your chassis batteries. So this is what starts your motor, keeps it running. If you have to, you can use these 4 batteries to start the chassis. The buttons on the inside, we talk about it in another video. This is just an extra storage compartment. We have the brake assist for a towed vehicle. Just extra tools and miscellaneous stuff. We don't really use that a whole lot right now. On this side, this is your inverter. Not much room for storage, but if you have something thin, you can store it here. You do have your cable input and your phone input on the back. That is your 50 amp. Hook that one right up. This is an automatic, so you can pull it out freely. 50 foot of cable. And then there's a button right back here that will reel it back in. There you go. Your water closet. So when you want to use the water on the inside, there are 3 different places where you can hit the pump. The pump turns on the water and gets it all primed throughout the system. If you want to clean out the black tanks, this is where you hook up your hose to flush out the black tank. This is your gray tank. When you're flushing your tanks, you always want to flush the black tank first, and you flush your gray tank second, so that you clean out your tube, excuse me. I will go into more detail on this one in a later video. This is your city water connection. I'll do a separate video on how to hook that up. So now we're going to talk about hooking up the city water to your system. Again, there are 2 areas. If you want to hook up the city water, this is the valve that goes into your pressurize your internal components. It's got an on-off switch on it. It's got a pressure regulator. This is set at 50 psi, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. This one we have set up for a valve so that you can control the amount of water that you're putting into the black tank. We're going to talk about that one later. So this one, you have 2 choices. You have the blue 12-foot hose. So if you have a nice short distance between the water hook, the city water hookup, and your RV, you can use the 12-footer. Or you could use the black 75-footer. So sometimes they'll be a little bit further away. Either way, you also have a pressure fitting for the end of it, so that you can get a spray nozzle and really hose off anything you want to clean up. That will be in the bucket. Then you just decide, once you decide which hose you're going to use, and we're going to use the blue one today, then we just spin on the regulator, brand new, so cap's on. Then you come over here, you screw it into the regulator. Careful not to cross thread this. It's plastic, it's easy to cross thread, so just do it by hand. Get it tight. Then when you hook it up to your city water, you always know how much water you're using. So you just set it up, turn it on, and then hook up your water, and you'll be able to tell. If you don't want to use this for that, that's okay. We're going to use this later for sure when we hook up to the RV the black tank, and we'll talk more about that. But if you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. It's just there for you. So now you've got good filtered water that's been pressure regulated going into the system. This is your outdoor shower, so to spray off and clean everything after you've used it. And this is your fresh water versus your local supply. So when you're camped and you've got water hooked up to this, you want this valve to be down. When it's down, it's pulling from the city water connection, not from the freshwater tank. Okay, now we're going to talk about the black tank. We are not at a dump site, so I won't be able to actually open the valves for you, but I'm going to show you how it works. You've got two tanks inside. The big thick one is the black tank. That's where all the poo goes. The urine and the poo goes through the toilet down into the black tank. This skinnier, smaller black pipe, this is for your gray tank. This is where the sink water and the shower water goes. When you get to your dump station, you're going to take the bottom off, set it to the side. Now take out your red or black hose. Most of the time, I end up having to use the red hose. You're going to hook this end up from the bottom. Lock it in. There will be gloves. I've already cleaned all this, so you don't have to worry about it, but there will be gloves here for you. And on this end, you can adjust it to whatever angle you need, but most of the time you're going to set it in like this. You want it to be level so that you can watch the material going through it. You put this in the dump station tank. Come back over here. You open up, that means pull out. So you pull out your black tank. Everything will run out, run over to it. I do not have anything to jack this up, so you will have to lift the hose and get the stuff to run through it. When the black tank is empty, you can hook up to this, and this is the scrubber. Again, you just hook your hose up to it. You're connected to city water at the dump, and you just turn it on. And then let it drain, let it run through there. It is spraying specifically where the poo goes and trying to clean out all the inside. Once you see that your end piece is pretty clean, then you stop running. Well, actually, I take that back. You only want to run the water while this is open. If the valve is not open, don't have this valve running into the black tank. It'll overflow it. So anyway, you've got your water on. You're letting everything drain. The water at the end is clean. You come over here. You turn the valve off for your water, and you close the valve to the black tank. Push it in. Then you can open up the valve for your gray tank, and that will run all of your shower water and sink water out through the tube, helping to clean it out, get it as clean as possible. And then you do the same thing. So you walk the hose. You might have to do it a couple of times. Walk the hose, drain everything out, close your gray tank, disconnect this. You will disconnect this one, clean out the red hose, keep going. Again, you're just making sure it's all clean and neat for the next person. Clean it all out. Drain the hoses. Make sure that they're run out. This will be off. Run it out. When it's strip dried, back in it goes. And it's ready for the next person. There's one thing I forgot to say about the water meter. When you get done filling up the black tank and you've scrubbed out everything in between, go ahead and close the valve and let this run for 5 gallons. What that'll do is it will actually put water in the bottom of the tank so that you can drop an orange packet in and get it ready for the next time that you go to the bathroom. But by having this meter, you'll know exactly 5 gallons. Help make everything smell better inside the RV. Again, on this side, you can pull out your storage bin. We have 2 chairs on the inside. We keep the footstools under here. We keep the brush just to keep the RV clean on the outside under here, and then more hoses because you can never have enough. Jumper cables in case you need them. The other diesel fill, again 1 tank but 2 fills. One other thing I want to show you is your LP tank fill. So if you want to fill your LP tank, it is right down here. It should be full for you, but just in case you ever need to do it, it is right next to the mid storage on the driver's side. Now we're going to start both of the air conditioners, but in order to do that, we need the remote control. There are 2 remote controls. The first one is right by the refrigerator. The second one is right beside the bed. There is an on-off button. That is how we start it. So we aim it at the air conditioner, turn it on, set it to your adjusted temperature wherever you want. It will be on cool and high. This is where I recommend that you leave it. The second remote is right there with its own temperature on it, 70 degrees. They are linked and connected. This one is set at 70, that one was set at 75. You can see that the generator is running from the bedroom, because you won't be able to hear it back here usually. It's all the way in the front of the RV. And you can start and stop the generator from right here. So press down, turn it off, press up, turn it on. Okay, when you first get in the RV, you're gonna see that the refrigerator is ajar. It is open on purpose because we haven't had any electricity running, and it will turn black. As you can see, the mold will grow back. We'll have this cleaned and it'll be ready to go. But we recommend that you leave one open. Just leave it just like that. Same thing should be true for the top. This is how you take out the pin that holds the doors so that you can get some privacy. There is another wall that you can put up. So you just disconnect this little latch. That'll allow you to pull this out. Hold the door closed. And there's another latch on the inside where you can lock it all together. Okay, when you're using the bathroom, you don't want it to smell. So that means you have to have lots of water down in the tank, in the black tank. When you get done flushing, when you get done going to the bathroom, flush and hold for 10 seconds each time you go to the bathroom, just to make sure that you get plenty of water in the black tank. When you're resetting your toilet, you want to drop in one of these orange bags. This will help keep the black tank from smelling. So water and the orange thing. Okay, we're going to talk about the lights now. The ceiling light here is on a 3-way switch. If you turn that on, you get the one light lit up right above the driver or the passenger seat. And then up here, you also have a ceiling light. And I'm going to flip it and you're going to show the light. So go ahead, show the light. Show the light. Okay. So you can turn it on and off from the driver's seat and from the back area. Then, for the next 4 lights, those are called the on-off control here, Katie. That is the on-off control with the dimmer, so show those lights. Those are the next 4 in line. And if you want to do the next 4, they're here. These are the kitchen lights. Again, can we show? There are 6 lights for the kitchen. If you want the hall light, you have to come back here. And Katie, if you show this, that is your hall light. We are going to take out the accent light right now. We'll talk about that later. Okay, we also have the soffit light control right here. So a little extra in the master. Pull the closet open. Right here, it sits in the back corner, fully charged. Okay, this is the LCI electronic leveling. If the jacks get overextended, it will pop the circuit breaker, and I'll show you how to reset that if that does happen, so you can get them back down. So let's say you just got in and you want to level it. You start by turning it on, and it's just stabilizing right now, just setting up. We're going to put it in auto. Right now the jacks are starting to go down. You can hear the sound inside the cab. Okay, jacks down, so the switch has been activated. Does not mean they've hit the ground yet. You'll feel it. This part does take a while, and you can't have people walking around inside the RV while you want to do this. So, okay, I just felt them hit the ground. Okay, so it's lifting slightly, sensing for which side needs to be leveled. Please be patient with it. This does take a little time when you're doing it automatically. You can see the bubbles right in the middle, so it's got us level. I'll have to read why that LCI is still flashing. Retract all jacks. Oh boy. Okay, now we're outside the RV. If the jacks don't automatically retract and you get the error, then you want to come open up the front with the round key. Get the inside open. And right up in here, that little circuit breaker will have a switch that is popped out of the top. Let's see if I can show you. The circuit breaker will come right out of this section right there. You don't have to push it back down. Once you do that, the electricity should be reset, and then we'll go inside and we'll press the button. If you're trying to put your jacks back up and you start to see all of the lights flashing like this means that the circuit breaker has tripped and the jacks have probably overextended. The way to clear this is you have to hold down on all 4 of those arrow buttons at the same time, and then it will reset the electronics. Let's talk about normal operating pressures or normal gauges. On the temperature gauge, which is in the upper right, you see right now it's at the medium level. This is where it will ride most of the time, it'll be in the medium. But the thermostat is actually set at the 3/4 mark. So you will see the black line rise up and it'll sit on the 3/4 for a little while, and then it'll drop back down to halfway. This is normal in the operation of the vehicle. The brakes, the air brakes, this is your air pressure. So you have tank 1 and tank 2. They sit right around 100, 110, I would guess. That's what I call it. I have never had them drop below 65, but they will drop below 100 every now and then. No big deal. Everything is running smoothly. It's just the normal operation. Oil pressure, you can see when you're not moving, it's a little below 50. Again, normal. As you're operating, it will jump up above 50. It'll be about 60. When you're all done with the RV for the day and you're getting ready to leave, make sure on your way out that you turn off the use light. That has to be off. Otherwise, you leave the batteries on, and when you get back, the batteries could be dead. I'll put a sign on the door to make sure that you remember, but make sure you're turning that off. The engine brake is set to be on, and it's in the low position. There is a neutral position in the middle. This means that the engine brake is off, and there is a high position, meaning it's going to be more sensitive and it will stop you faster. I leave it on the low setting. And what this will do is it will save your brakes. You don't have to use your brakes as much. As soon as you let off on the gas, the engine brake will, the engine brake will start, and it'll start to slow you down even without applying the brakes. You still will have to use your brakes when you get down to the end, but it helps a ton to keep your brakes from overheating. When you're in the mountains, that's the only time that I've used this one. It'll just help keep you in lower gears and again, save your brakes. Okay, if you should have any issues while you're out, we do include the owner's manual, which is inside, which is inside this blue. There you go, Damon. All the owner's manuals are in there. We also have a tool kit and a tie down strap. There's duct tape and a brush and some extra treatment for the RV black tank. Hopefully you won't need any of this, but if you do, this is where you can find it. Okay, there are 2 fire extinguishers on the RV. The first one is right beside the passenger's seat. See, it's fully charged. And the other one is all the way in the back of the RV in the closet.